What's up guys, Maxim here, welcome back to another video. I've been really looking for some things that you guys can benefit from, and I recently saw someone that made an interesting video in which he covered which characters you should focus on and super awaken. So I liked the idea and decided to show you guys which characters to super awaken and why. But before jumping into that, if you guys are not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel a lot and keeps it alive. And also to avoid you being under the mercy of the YouTube algorithm. Since you guys know how bad I am with using Google Sheets, we'll be using the tier list maker site. Besides, it's so easy to understand and also to work with. So I divided this chart into 3 categories. The first one is the top priorities, which characters that you would be using on the daily basis. And they are also future-proof and can be used for associations as well. And you should be super awakening them as soon as you can. And yeah, the second categories I called later down the line, as eventually once you're done with the top priority ones, you will work your way down to super awaken all your box to increase your box CC and maybe use them for fun in the future or some rare occasions. The third categories is for characters that you won't be using for anything in the game besides maybe training cave or in rare occasions where they would release a final boss or stages that can take advantage of their skills. I should also note that this tier list is made based on my own experience in the game, and some people might differ, but no worries, let me know what you guys think in the comments and I'm always open to learn. Alright, with that said and done, ladies and gents, let's get the party started. Alright, similar to what we did to the tier list the other day, we're gonna take the characters as we go and just place them on top of the chart. So yeah, starting off with SR, like SSR, like this one is actually not advised at this time. This guy is not advised at this time because he's not used for anything. He's not advised at this time because she's not used for anything. Not advised, not advised. Maybe Lee, no. I was gonna say because he's good for Red Demon, but once the one Escanor like came to global, I think you should use the one Escanor because it just cruise through the Red Demon. So any of the bonds are not good for anything right now. This guy is actually not bad because he's actually good for a buffer, and you could actually use him for the strat with Derriere in the Knighthood boss in the future. And also he's one of the great like buffers in the Grey Demon. So yeah, maybe later down the line you can actually super awaken him, but it's not necessary, I would say. So yeah, so I would place him later down the line. This guy, not advised this time. Not advised at this time. Slater, I actually super awakened because like if you link him with Sario, he starts doing an incredible amount of damage on the Red Demon. But it's like, I don't know, it's like the like I said earlier, the one Escanor is already in the game. So yeah, I don't know, it's a personal choice. I like Slater as a character, so I super awaken them. But if you guys like already have the one and you just like not finding difficulties to doing the Red Demon, I wouldn't advise you to super awaken him. Diane, I would not advise at the moment. She's not used for anything, and personally I don't even have her leveled up, and I didn't find myself like struggling to actually find like to super awaken him in a hurry. But yeah, it's personal choice, I guess. But yeah, Red Escanor is actually really good for association. So super awaken him is actually very important. And plus, like, he has one of the highest CC if you have him 6/6. So if you build him up like HP and defense, personally I have like 2 sets for Escanor, which is like HP and defense, and also like attack and defense, and also attack and crit damage. So having him like as an association is actually really good because he reached like 55k CC once he's 6/6, and he has the perfect HP and defense. So he's really good to have for various like missions and everything else. So I would actually start super awaken him, especially like if you don't have the one Escanor right now. This guy is not recommended at the moment, especially with the meta right now. Later down the line, once you're done with the top priorities, you should super awaken him. Or if you use him very often, I would say like awaken him once you have the resources too, because he's really good for Grey Demon. But right now, if you didn't super awaken him and you're still going through the Grey Demon as fast as you like, I would say, you should probably not super awaken him, especially if you are planning to summon on Merlin banner. She's going to be really good when it comes to like to doing the Great Demon, and she practically like two-shot him like 2 turns, so it's actually really good. Demon Meliodas is actually not bad for associations, so I would say like later down the line, like eventually, but he's very hard to like to get since he's like from the coin shop unit. So I would say if you have him 6/6, super awaken him for association purposes, but if you don't have him 6/6, is not advised at this moment. This guy is not bad for Great Demon as he sits in the back, so it's not advised. He's just like gonna be a support unit. Not advised. This guy is not advised. Not advised. Maybe later down the line. She's really good for these two. Actually, they have the incredible amount of damage, but I would say like if you're done with the top priorities ones, you can actually start super awakening the SR, as they are like they don't take much resources to actually super awaken. So I would say like if you find yourself needing to do the extra damage from these two, especially the green ones, he's actually really good for Akumu if you're doing the knighthood boss. So yeah, maybe later down the line, if you don't feel like you're going to ever use them, I would say like not advised at this time, right? So yeah, these ones are not, Gila is not used for anything. You're never gonna use her. He's top priority. He's really good against the one Escanor, and you're going to find yourself like using him in a lot of PvP things, especially like if you pair him up with Tarmiel, Esterosa, and maybe Green Gother and him in the back, because he increased PvP defense by 30%. He's actually really good. I would say top priority as well. Green, like both green and red Gother, they're one of the most important characters in the game. I would say like once you have the right resources, start awakening them, and yeah, and plus like you get a lot of copies for free when you start playing the game. Especially now, they give you 1 copy, I believe, from login, and also like you get 1 copy when you start playing the game from the banner. So yeah, definitely super awaken him as much as you can. Also, word of advice. This is very important, and I should have actually included this at the beginning of this video, but don't pay taxes when super awakening. You like me, for example, like, and a lot of people that are actually smart, they don't pay taxes. And when I say that, pay taxes, which means don't super awaken the characters that don't have ult level in case you really have to. Like, you want to get dupes for the unit before you actually super awaken it, as it will save you a lot of resources, because super awakening materials are such a scarce in the game, and you have to be very smart. So if you have, for example, like Green King 2/6, for example, just 2-star super awaken him and wait until you actually get 2 dupes by any chance, and then finish like the whole stars, because it's not worth it. And plus, like, super awakening doesn't have like the jump on CC as much as you think it would be, compared to like URing or making UR gear for any of the characters. So I would wait until I get dupes for him and then super awaken him, in case, like in one scenario that you can actually super awaken them by paying taxes, so to speak. I would like, it's a really scarce character, and I ran out of gems. For example, like a festival unit, I ran out of gems, and I'm very certain that I'm not going to be getting any other copies. I would actually say that, okay, I'm willing to actually spend the extra dupes, or spend the extra coins in order to 4-star super awakening. So these ones are actually not used in the game, so I wouldn't super awaken him. Maybe I would say later, like, he's very good for knighthood. No, he's really good for knighthood wars, but that's something very advanced in the future. So I would say no, to be honest. She's not good. She's not good. I would say later, she's very good because of her passive. She increased 10% for strength attribute characters. So she's actually really good. I would super awaken her once I have the material to. So that's a really future kind of proof kind of thing that I would focus on in the future. He's later down the line, really later down the line if you need him for Knighthood Wars. He's not good. He's not good. He's not used for anything. She's good later down the line. She have the same effect as the Red Jericho, and she's actually future proof as well because she increased like the 10 by 10% like attack related stats, and the one Escanor really needs that if you want him to like to do the extra damage. So having her in the back as a support unit can be very beneficial. Jillian, I actually start to Super Awaken just because she's very good because of her support unit, but like I said, she's very later down the line. Like once you finish with your PvP team, with your farming team and everybody else, you can actually like start super awakening these characters that I'm talking about later down the line. And not advised at this time, don't super awaken them unless you really need them and you think that you would do better in a certain activity in the game. So yeah, might as well do them. But if you don't have any activity in the game for them, don't super awaken them. This one doesn't have any use in the game. Marmas is actually really good. Down, like once you're done with your top priorities, like I mentioned earlier, you can actually start super awakening him. He's not good for anything. She's top priority because she's really good link for the one Escanor. She makes some crit, and also like she's used in the back because of her passive, which is increase ultimate gouge by 1 orb, I believe, at the start of the turn, which is really good. This one is not used at the moment, even though that he has one of the highest CCs for all Gothers right now, but no, he's not used for anything. He's not used for anything. Slater is later down the line. Like I said, SR and R characters are really easy to super awaken. But Red Slater, I find myself more and more using him in various like occasions, and he's going to be very good if you're a late game kind of player. He's very good for the Knighthood boss. So, but this is very hard for me, but yeah, I wouldn't advise you guys to super awaken him. I would say just wait. He's later down the line because he's a support unit. He increased the strength attribute characters like HP by 30%, so he's a really great support unit. I personally super awaken him. He's very easy to super awaken as well. This guy is not used for anything. Let me fix this a little bit really quick. My tier lists are always messy. These ones, he's not used for anything in the game. Not used for anything in the game. Right now, she doesn't have any use in the game, but if you find yourself, she have a really good attack disable card, but if you find yourself like wanna try character for fun, then why not, right? He's not used for anything in the game. She's very good. She's a support unit that heals and have in the back. She's very good like against various final bosses. So once I'm done again with the top priorities, I would actually super awaken her. This is not important, but later down the line, she's not used for anything, honestly. I didn't even bother to super awaken her. He's not a top priority. He's not used for anything in the game. He's not used for anything in the game. He's not used for anything in the game. Like, not advised at this time, I would say. I didn't use her for anything, but a lot of people have been using her for the Red Demon, but I don't know. She's not used for anything, to be honest, for me. Not recommended at this time. All the Rumorus and the Slime collab are not good. Later down the line, he's actually really good for farming unit if you happen to like to super awaken him. But he's with Shin and also a lot of like AoE good characters. Hauser fell off just because of his like damage. But yeah, some people actually already super awaken him, but if you want to use him for farming and you don't have Shin, he's actually really good, so might as well super awaken him. Slime collab, again, they're not good for anything right now, unfortunately. She not advised at this time, I would say, but she's actually really good for PvP in the future if you want to pair her up, and also she's good for the Knighthood boss. Not the Knighthood boss, sorry. The what is it called? The Knighthood Wars and PvP as well, so not advised. Not advised at this time. He's actually a really good buffer. I would say top priority because he's one of the best buffers in the game right now, and you want him to survive, and he's good for some knighthood bosses. Not top priority. Some people actually leveled him for the final boss Bond. Personally, I didn't super awaken him because I want to save my resources, because final boss is Bond is gonna disappear in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I didn't want to spend many resources. But if you went out of your way and you have like an extra to super awaken him to get like the extra score, then why not? I'm gonna place him here. This one is dead. Is dead. I wouldn't place her anywhere, to be honest. She's not meant to like to super awaken at all, because she's suicide because of her actually passive. Once she dies, she actually gives 2 orbs, like ultimate orbs, and also like she heals you to full HP, so you want her to die. So never level her or super awaken her, just get her passive and that's it. He's top priority because he's easy to get, and also he's a really good association. Green Jericho, not advised at this time or never. She's actually really top priority because she's a very good character against one Escanor, because of her taunt and her like resilience, and plus like her attribute advantage against the one Escanor. And the one Escanor is gonna be meta for a really long time. Not advised at this moment. Maybe later down the line. She's good for gray, for the red demon. Some people use her right now. Not advised, actually. I wouldn't super awaken her because she's not that reliant on super awakening. It's not gonna make it any difference. So I would say not advised at this time, unless like I said, not advised means if you super awakened all the important characters, and once you have like an excess in the resources, then of course you can actually super awaken any of these characters to use for fun. Is up to you. Lilia is actually top priority to super awaken right now because of her broken passive, and she's actually really good. Monspeed is actually really good for the knighthood wars, but he's not for every new player to level up, so I would wait for them and leave them for last once I become like a really late player. Bloody Meliodas is actually really good for farming, and also like he can be very good for various scenarios, so he can be super awakened because you're going to find yourself using him often, especially if you don't have the right characters. Not used for anything. He's actually top priority. I super awakened him because he's really great unit to have in the back because of his passive, which is like decrease enemies crit resistance and crit defense by 30%, I believe. I could be wrong, but he's actually really good. King, I would say later down the line, to be honest with you. A lot of people actually put him in top priority, but for me, he's not super awakened or leveled. So I never, because when I started playing the game, which is like almost 5 months ago, I didn't find myself like using King as much as everybody else. So I actually didn't level him. And yeah, I don't want you guys to like to waste resources on a character that is not used anymore. So, but he's of course like he can be used in some scenarios, but I wouldn't rush myself to actually super awaken him right now. He's not used for anything, so I would wait with super awakening him. She's not used for anything, so I would wait. She's actually, if you have her 6/6, I would say it's like top priority to super awaken, because she has the highest CC upon all Merlins, I believe, when it comes to HP. So if you want to like to super awaken her in order to like to give her as an association, she's not a bad option. But I would say later down the line, maybe like I don't know, I feel like if you don't have her 6/6, not advised at this time. So let's just keep her like that, not advised at this time. Let's put you here so we can have like the color looking good. Top priority, to be honest with you. She's actually really good. You won't find yourself like using her often, but in the future, maybe top. Yeah, she's in the future. She's going to be very relevant. Trust me. Like Green Valenti and her resistance, like passive, is actually really good in Knighthood Wars, and I didn't level her until now, and I realized how important she is, especially when you pair her up with Blue Droll and also like the Green Lilia in the back. You're going to have a really unkillable tanky team like this Green Lilia. She's actually really good. But But yeah, if you don't have the resources and you didn't have like super awaken any of these characters, let's put them a bit in order so you guys can understand. Maybe Merlin here, she's actually useful. Lily as well. Maybe the 2 Escanors, he's actually really good as well. Well, honestly, yeah, all of the top priorities are actually really, really good to super awaken. She's not used for anything. He's not used for anything. She's have not bad CC. Maybe later down the line, if you have her, like, if you get, like, you happen to have many dupes for her, and you're not paying taxes, then later down the line she can be very good. Later down the line, if you have excess in resources, personally I have him 6/6, but I still didn't super awaken him because I didn't find the reason to. He's actually really good for the red demon, but you're not gonna be looking for out CCing anyone when it comes to like red demon, so might as well just not super awaken him, especially with the 1 around, right? Elati is actually good for some of the knighthood bosses in the future. I would say later down the line, like, work on her. She's not a bad investment. Trust me, when you join a really competitive knighthood in the future, you're going to be finding yourself using Elat more than you think. So yeah, I actually found myself paying taxes to super awaken her just because I wanted to to get a better score when it comes to Akumu, and she's actually really good against multiple final bosses. So yeah, why not? He's actually later down the line because has a really high CC, and also like he has a really good association to different characters, so why not super awaken him if you have the resources for it? But I don't have him super awaken, so I don't know, so it's not top priority right now. So King Arthur, I would say not top priority. I would say like later down the line, if you have like the extra resources, he's not bad once you have him 6/6, but I wouldn't rush myself to super awaken him right now because he's commonly used in the red demon, and there is no red demon right now when it comes with the 1 Escanor. But if you don't have the 1 Escanor, because there is a majority of people that don't like Escanor as a character, and they didn't summon for him, so might as well tell them that if you don't have a good character for red demon right now, he would become like a really top priority to super awaken and use. But again, he would be doing damage anyway, especially if you have a good partner for red demon. Also, we have Easton later down the line, she's going to be one of the greatest buffers of all times in the game, especially with Halbram. You can actually use her use both as buffers in the future, but I wouldn't rush right now, like a top priority, to go out of my way to super awaken her. I would wait until I get dupes, and I have her super awakened just because, like I said earlier, I'm in a competitive knighthood and I need her for some of the final, like the knighthood bosses. So yeah, and she could be used for the final bosses as well. So yeah, these two are really great buffers, and also like Red Arthur, he can be used everywhere. And I remember when I said like don't use super awakening coins unless you have dupes. That's what I do all the time. So yeah, he's not advised at the moment. She's good to have in the back because you get cosmetics. Not advised to super awaken unless you're a whale and you're spending a ridiculous amount of money. If you want to actually super awaken him, then that's a different story. She's actually good later down the line. He's actually top priority because he's good against some of the Tower of Trials, and he's a good unit in PvP. Really fun. Furu counter. Not advised. She's good because of her cosmetic, which is like give you or guarantee you an enhancement material each time you do the Grey Demon. So she's actually good, not bad. Later down the line, I would actually super awaken Green Mount-Speed. I like Green Mount-Speed personally. I think he's very fun. Not advised at the moment because she has no use in the game. Of course, he's top priority to super awaken. The guy is broken, even though keep in mind that once you super awaken him, he's going to be getting an extra like crit resistance, which actually interfere with his passive. But now like he's top priority to actually super awaken. Like Dasvane Meliodas is still relevant in some of the, maybe not as much in PvP, but he's very relevant in PvE as well. He can be used for farming as well. A lot of people use him. Derriere is top priority as well. I would go out of my way to super awaken her because she's one of the best PvE unit in the game right now, by the way, and she have the highest like damage multiplier in the game right now. So keep that in mind. I would never awaken her. She's good to have in the back when it comes to Crimson because she gives you a guaranteed enhancement, like cosmetic enhancement material. Later down the, like, I would not advise at this time. Not advised at this time. Not advised at this time until you, like, Assault Meliodas comes. Then she becomes a top priority to super awaken. She becomes a top priority to super awaken once Assault Meliodas comes out. So keep that in mind, that Melascula is gonna become very relevant when it comes when Assault Meliodas, but right now, maybe later down the line. But we will work on a new kind of like super awakening guide once like new characters like comes in, of course. So keep that in mind. Zeldris, I would super awaken him later down the line if I have the resources, and he's a really fun character, but unfortunately he's not used for anything. And yeah, since he's not used for anything, I wouldn't go out of my way to super awaken him like for nothing. Yeah, this guy is not worth super awakening, not worth. Top priority to super awaken right now. She's one of the best units in the game. She's broken and a lot of people hate her. Gloxinia later down the line, she's not a bad character. She's really, really good. Once you actually like join a competitive knighthood, you'll understand how important those characters are. I would actually super awaken him because you get him 6/6 and you're not gonna be paying taxes for him. So I would actually 6/6 him because you can cheese a lot of the story with him if you don't have the one Ascanor right now, and you can actually cheese a lot of the Tower Trials with him just because of his passive, which is during events or festivals, he gets a boost of 50% on his basic stats, so it's really, really good. But yeah, top priority, I would say. For me, it's top priority. I have him super awakened and I use them in a lot of activities before I started like getting the right characters. But if you have like everything and you have the right characters, maybe later down the line if you find yourself like struggling. But if you're a new player and you just started and you get like a lot of copies of him, like if you get like 3 or 4 copies of him, I would super awaken him, like becomes top priority. But if you are a late player, I wouldn't even, I would put him here. But let's put him later, like later down the line, maybe in the future, like when people, I don't know, it's very tricky. Yeah, I would leave him there later down the line. Not used for anything, unfortunately. Aaron, he's good for Red Demon if you don't have the one Ascanor, but otherwise I wouldn't super awaken him because I have him and I didn't like bother to super awaken him, to be honest. So yeah, you're not gonna be missing. She's not good for anything. He's not good for anything. Draw is top priority once you start building up the teams and you are already like super awaken these ones. He's actually really, really good association for some of the characters, and he's really useful in PvP. Like there is a lot of combs that actually can be very useful for him. And if you have like some dupes, like he's 4/6 or something, and you have like super awakening coins, I wouldn't waste. It wouldn't be a waste, especially on draw. But yeah, there is a lot of fun combos with him, so keep that in mind. He's not used for anything. Maybe use him for fun. If you're like done with the top priorities ones, you can actually super awaken them to try him out. She has not bad damage, but not a lot of people have her. He's top priority because he's such a great link for Meliodas overall. So I would go out of my way to actually super awaken him. And plus, like, he has a really high CC. Not used for anything. Not used for anything. Blue draw is like the same as the green one. His top priority is really, really good. Luducio, if you actually have him 6/6 and everything maxed out for him, like plus 15% set and everything, 6/6 ult, I would super awaken him, but otherwise I wouldn't super awaken him if I don't have dupes for him. She's not used for anything besides final boss Bon, and once final boss disappears, she's not gonna be relevant for anything. So I wouldn't super awaken her, she would be a waste of resources. Green Easton is actually such a fun unit. I would actually super awaken him, like her, later down the line if I have to, but not right now. She's not top priority to super awaken. I'm sorry, Easton. I'm sorry, Green Easton. She's not good for anything. He is such a cheese unit to actually use in tower trials, also in some of the final bosses. You'll find yourself like using him in a lot of the PvE content, so I would go out of my way to actually super awaken him, because you're going to be using him more than you think, because his passive is actually increased damage taken, decreased damage taken by 35% and increased damage dealt by 35% as well, which is really good in PvE. So I would super awaken him. I'd find myself using him a lot. Athena, she's a top priority unit. She's actually really good unit to have in the back. She's very underestimated. Sorry. This guy, Lilia, she's not relevant, but if you have like Festival King, she is very relevant, and I would like super awaken her. But if you're not running Festival King, which not a lot of people are doing, because Festival King became irrelevant very quickly, and especially with the one Eskimo right now, like running loose, nah, I wouldn't super awaken her. The same, he's actually, where did he go? Did I throw him off? Did I take him? There he is. I would actually super awaken him, to be honest. I have him super, but I wouldn't pay taxes for him. If you have him 6/6, I would super awaken him. You'd probably like freaking out and be like, why did he do that? Because if you guys watched my gold farming teams, he's such a key unit for it. He does like so much damage, but I wouldn't like super awaken him more than 2 stars maybe later down the line, because his passive is really good, because he increased damage dealt from debuff skills by 50%, which is really good. But unfortunately, he have really low CC, and if you have like Festival King, he can actually be very relevant. And there is a lot of units that rely a lot on their debuff skills, and him being in the back can benefit the team a lot. So I would actually like super awaken him once I have the resources, like he's like a support unit, like these ones, like the Jillian, the Tweet God, and everyone else, right? So I would go out of my way to actually super awaken him. He's top priority, the best unit in the game right now. His passive is crazy. He's in every team in PvP. He's used in PvE. Such a great unit, all-around unit. Roxy, she's really fun. If you have dupes for her, she becomes a great priority, especially to run in human team. But if you don't have dupes for her, I don't have dupes for her. I have her 1/6, so I didn't even bother to super awaken her. And you wouldn't like miss her. You wouldn't be like, oh, I wish I had Roxy for some reason. No, I wouldn't do that. So yeah, maybe for fun later down the line. I have her super awakened because I did the showcase on the channel, but I wouldn't super awaken her because she's not that good for anything. She could be a fun unit to use in PvE, like PvP, but other than that, her passive is such a weird, and it contradicts with one of her skills. Her passive is basically decreased defense by 30% once a crit attack or crit occurs, I think. And the problem is that you have a freeze card, and if you happen to freeze a person, the defense thingy disappears. And if you guys are not familiar, if you freeze someone like that has a buff, the buff or the debuff automatically gets removed. So yeah, Kyo is actually such a fantastic unit. I would actually super awaken him. He's not relevant in PvP right now, but he's really used in the some of the PvE content, but not in PvP because the one Ascanor just one-shots every red unit. Later down the line, she can be very, very good. Like if you pair her up with Blue Droll, she's actually really, really good. But if you don't have dupes for her and you have her 1/6, I wouldn't recommend you paying taxes and leveling, like super awakening her. I would wait for her once I have the resources. Mono, she's not good for anything beside final boss Ascanor once he comes out, so I wouldn't go out of my way to super awaken her. Shin is such a fun unit. I don't think this one have green Shin. I would super awaken green Shin, by the way. This one doesn't have, but I would super awaken green Shin like straight away, as I would put him like top priority. He's one of the best units to farm gold right now, and he's such a good farming unit. So yeah, if you have the chance to super awaken him, do it. I would recommend you guys doing it. But he's not on this tier list. But the red one, he's not used for anything. So I would say later down the line, if you want to go out of your way to super awaken him for fun and you want to try him out in PvP, but he's not like top priority. Rugo is such a great unit. I would actually super awaken him. He's such a good unit if you pair him up with Lilia and everything. And in some of the tower trials, he can be used, and you're gonna find yourself using him in a lot. Once like the new Knighthood Wars, like the ungeared Knighthood Wars that they're planning, you're gonna find yourself like using him quite often. Sariel, top priority, is one of the best characters in the game. You have like the crazy defense, the crazy grace, everything about him is such a good, like most of like the archangels I would super awaken beside Leducio if I don't have the ult levels. Also Tarmiel is such a great unit as well. I actually cheesed my way through the tower trials with him, and he's such a good associations because of his grace. Both of them are such a good units because of their grace, so you want them to have the best CC in order to use for association. He's top priority. He's the best unit in the game, or damage dealer, I would say, the damage dealer in the game right now. So I would pay taxes for him and go out of my way to super awaken. Festival King, if you don't have him maxed out, I wouldn't super awaken him, but if you have him super awaken, if you have him like maxed out, like a good ultimate level, you have like all his exclusive cosmetics and everything, he would become like top priority because he's such a good unit for anvil farming. But if I don't have him like maxed out, I wouldn't even super awaken him. I would say later down the line because it's not good for anything. I'm gonna put Blue Easton like back up because I remember that she's actually really good for anvil farming. So having her on the team and Lost Vein plus like Green Gother, she would be, and plus like Death Pierce in the back, that's a good anvil farming team. So if you don't have an anvil farming team, I would use Easton and Lost Vein together. They're both together. These two units are suicide units, so you never want to level them. So yeah, like I said, these units like varies from personal experience to another, and some of these units can be great associations once they actually get super awakened. So keep that in mind. Look for which best association that fits the character that you play the most with before you super awaken. Like I said, super awakening coins are such a scarcity in the game, and you're not going to find yourself super awakening every character in the game unless like you're spending a ridiculous amount of money in the game. So being smart to which character you should be leveling first or super awakening like first would be a huge recommended for me. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and which characters you have super awakened right now. I would love to see it, and yeah, let me know what you guys think. I would really appreciate it. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and if you did, please don't forget to leave a like, as all likes are really appreciated and do help the channel to grow. Subscribe if you haven't already, and catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
俺の町に 落ちてんじゃねえ